What does it mean to yearn for freedom so intensely that you're willing to risk everything? How far would you go to achieve it? This was the reality for one man, a gladiator turned rebel, Spartacus. His story is one of valor, rebellion, and an insatiable thirst for freedom. Born a free man in Thrace, Spartacus found himself enslaved and sold to a gladiatorial school in Capua, run by Lentulus Badiatus. Here he was condemned to a life of brutal training and violent combat, all for the amusement of the Roman populace. Yet, beneath his enforced servitude, the flames of rebellion simmered. Spartacus, fueled by the horrific conditions he and his fellow slaves endured, began to conspire. In the dead of night, he rallied his fellow gladiators, sparking the spark of rebellion that would soon ignite a full-blown insurrection. The rebellion, which began as a desperate bid for freedom by a band of gladiators, quickly grew in size and strength. Spartacus's charisma and military acumen drew thousands to his cause. They were no longer mere slaves. They were an army, led by a gladiator, challenging the might of Rome itself. Under Spartacus's leadership, this slave army won a series of victories against the Roman forces sent to quell them. The most notable of these was the Battle of Mount Vesuvius, where Spartacus's strategic prowess outmatched the Roman legions. News of the rebellion spread like wildfire throughout Rome. The ruling class was thrown into a state of panic. The slaves' revolt, led by a gladiator, was not just a threat to their lives, but to the very foundations of their society. Yet, despite their initial successes, the odds were stacked against Spartacus and his army. They lacked the resources, training, and strategic support that the Roman legions possessed. Over time, the tide of war began to turn against them. In a bid to crush the rebellion, the Senate turned to Marcus Licinius Crassus. A seasoned commander, Crassus was tasked with extinguishing the flame of rebellion that Spartacus had ignited. He assembled an army, around 50,000 strong, and began a campaign of attrition against Spartacus and his forces. Crassus's strategy was to cut off their supply lines, capture their strongholds, and intercept their raiding parties. He instilled discipline among his troops, ensuring they maintained formation and obeyed orders. Spartacus and his army, isolated and worn down, were finally defeated. The story of Spartacus is a powerful testament to the human spirit's indomitable quest for freedom. His rebellion challenged the oppressive structures of the Roman Empire and left an indelible mark on history. Though Spartacus himself was defeated, his spirit of resistance and his quest for freedom continue to inspire us to this day.